So my name's Leilani Darwin. I'm here from Brisbane. I work with Headspace Inala as the Program and Community Liaison Manager. A complete honour and shock in a lot of ways. For me, knowing just how much work is going on in the space in Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander suicide prevention around Australia, and to be acknowledged for what I consider a small part that I play in that, it has been phenomenal. Particularly, I've been working for the last few years with Headspace Inala and with the local Inala Elders and Suicide Prevention Program in running a social and emotional wellbeing program for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander youth. What's been quite unique about the program, I guess, is our approach that we took to that. And that is that Headspace Inala and our lead agency at Torres understood that we weren't the owners of this. They valued and appreciated and respected that culture needed to be at the forefront, and that in fact we were just supporting the community to deal with something that was a real problem for them at the time. That had quite a few deaths by Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander young people, and that led Ramrella to develop the Suicide Prevention and Mental Health Program with the support of the local elders. I think what we saw as the success of that program is that they had 3 to 4 years, I think, without any suicide deaths after the implementation of a community-led and community-owned culturally appropriate program that set up support people to help those that need it. UHELP really incorporated cultural governance through a steering committee with the elders and other community members, as well as a project youth advisory group which had young people in there that were really played a key part in supporting me in the sessions that I've developed and giving me feedback on ways to make it more youth or culturally appropriate and friendly. We didn't just go into this space thinking that we could do something and that was fine. Torres and Headspace Inala really layered the way in which they made sure that their service was appropriate. There was an sense of importance for not just doing stuff in the community, but making sure that when mob were coming back into our service that we actually provided a safe space for them, and that our staff had undertaken some cultural capacity training to build up their skills to have that safe environment when young people came in. And since then we've continued to not only run UHELP at the cost of somewhat significant amount to our lead agency because it was a one-off funding project, but we've had the research that's come out with Griffith University and shown it's the first program in Australia to reduce suicidality amongst Aboriginal people. It's also decreased depression and anxiety, and also, just as importantly as the reduction in suicidality, it has actually increased help-seeking behaviours and promotion, and that's a massive thing in the stigma for our mob and getting help. I guess what's been great about all the work that we've been doing with UHELP is how we've been able to really highlight how important Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in leading and owning their healing journey in this space, and really being the drivers behind any suicide prevention initiative. They know who the people are that have issues, and they know what best support they have. Mainstream services do have a role in this though, and if mainstream services go into the space really valuing, understanding and cherishing just how much knowledge Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander elders and community members have, and working alongside them to provide a service that addresses those needs but always brings culture to the forefront and supports people in that journey, and particularly for us young people is a space that we've been working in. A big part of that is acceptance from the community and the work that we do, not just for the UHELP program, but also in, for example, we got some funding to run an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander leadership event at the Inala Elders in the lead up to Youth Week, and that was really responsive to their needs. They're like, we want to support our young people to become leaders, and we made sure that we had culture throughout that whole process. We included art, we included storytelling, but we also brought social media into it, and we had filming for them to do their pledge on what they wanted their leadership journey to be like, and some practical stuff for them that highlighted what their leadership style was, which will only be helpful for them as they continue their journey in leadership. So it's almost amalgamating the cultural stuff and the old ways and that understanding, but bringing it into a modern way that they understand it and that it's going to stick a bit more for them. I think first and foremost it's important to have a presence. Unfortunately, because historically Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities are used to having people come in and go out and promise the world and deliver nothing, there's an existing set of barriers that anybody has to kind of overcome to have meaningful engagement and contribution in this space. To do that, it takes time. I really want to encourage management and service providers to understand that if you're sending people into this space to do that work, that it's going to be different. Putting expectations on them sometimes around time frames and you need to achieve this and you need to do that just won't work. People don't run on that time frame, and the power of just being somewhere, it might be a day, a week, it might be going to that community long term for 3 months before people actually want to talk to you, then that's what it takes, and that's what will actually help you make a difference. To be able to truly value and cherish that, and even for organisations to understand the more strategic frameworks, for example the likes of the Gayadui Declaration, which really talks about the importance of embedding Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander culture in the healing process and working and walking alongside them and acknowledging them throughout all levels of leadership within organisations and government bodies. There's been some failures from government and other services in this space in thinking that sure enough they know what's right and we're going to tell these people what they're going to do and we'll throw some money here and there. That won't work. For this space to be different, and Tom Karma and Pat Dudgeon and everyone else who's fighting the fight know that change has to happen both ways, not just systemically from the top down, from federal government, state government filtering down, but also from the community leading up, so that we can actually join together and be in a true partnership that's based on respect and that's based on culture and understanding why culture has a real place in healing journeys, not just in the mental health practice or suicide prevention, but you look at the closing the gap stuff as well. It's the same. My mum died when I was young, my sister, best friends, too many people in this community, and until people get to that space where they know how important it is to do what they can in their space to help, our country will remain the same. But don't have fear in that. Everybody needs to play a role in this. It's not up to one individual, it's not up to all of the Aboriginal people to do it all, because it's impossible. But everyone can play a role in doing that. Don't be afraid to go out and find out who your local elders are. Don't be afraid to go and have a cup of coffee and tea and take something for morning tea or afternoon tea for them and just say hello. You don't have to want something from them, but they need to know that you're genuine in why you're there. Get to know them, because our people are some of the most beautiful people in this world.